Everyone says cancers are emotional. They're not. Cancers are manipulators. And everything you think is vulnerability is actually a weapon. I've analyzed cancer placements for 11 years. What I discovered isn't sensitivity. It's strategy. The cancer you think is fragile isn't showing their feelings. They're using them to control you. Stay until the end. The reason cancers cry so much will change how you see every tear. Let's start with what everyone gets wrong. When you meet a cancer, they seem so open with their emotions. They cry easily. They share their pain. They seem like they need protection. And people rush to comfort them. They call it empathy. They call it emotional depth. But watch what actually happens. The cancer doesn't just express emotions. They weaponize them. Every tear comes with an unspoken demand. Comfort me. Prioritize me. Drop everything for me. And if you don't, the tears intensify. The pain deepens. The guilt starts. Because here's what nobody tells you. Cancers don't feel more than other people. They perform feelings more strategically than other people. And they've learned that vulnerability gets them power. Here's the pattern. Something upsets the cancer. Could be a real problem. Could be something minor. Doesn't matter. The response is always the same. Emotional flooding. They break down. They cry. They express how hurt they are. And everyone around them stops what they're doing and makes the cancer the center of attention. Which is exactly what the cancer wanted. Not consciously. Not maliciously. But the pattern is clear. Emotional expression equals control of the room. And over time, everyone around the cancer learns the rule. Don't upset them. Don't challenge them. Don't make them uncomfortable. Walk on eggshells to protect their feelings. This isn't emotional openness. It's emotional tyranny. Let me tell you about the 3 layers of cancer manipulation. First layer. The victim narrative. This is what everyone sees. The cancer is always hurt. Always wounded. Always recovering from something someone did to them. They tell stories about their childhood, their exes, their family. Everything is framed as something that happened to them, never something they participated in creating. And people feel sorry for them. People want to rescue them. But here's what's actually happening. The victim narrative absolves the cancer of all responsibility. If they're always the victim, they're never accountable. If everyone else is the villain, they never have to look at their own behavior. The victim narrative isn't honesty. It's a shield. Second layer. The emotional memory vault. Cancers remember everything you ever said or did. Every mistake. Every moment you disappointed them. Every time you weren't perfect. And they store it. Not to forgive. Not to process. To use later. You'll be in an argument about something completely unrelated and suddenly the cancer brings up something from 3 years ago. Something you thought was resolved. But it was never resolved for them. It was cataloged. Filed away. Saved for the moment when they need ammunition. This isn't emotional depth. It's strategic resentment. They keep a running inventory of every way you failed them so they always have leverage. Third layer. The emotional hostage situation. This is the layer most people never see because it's so subtle. When someone tries to leave, tries to create boundaries, tries to prioritize their own needs, the cancer escalates emotionally. They don't argue. They don't fight. They collapse. They become so devastated, so broken, so fragile that leaving feels like abandonment. Feels like cruelty. Feels like you're the monster. And most people can't handle that guilt. So they stay. They sacrifice their needs. They shrink themselves to protect the cancer's feelings. And the cancer never has to actually change. They just have to cry hard enough that you feel too guilty to require change. This isn't vulnerability. It's emotional extortion. Let me tell you a real story. I knew a cancer named Emma. She was in a relationship for 4 years. Her partner, Chris, was devoted, patient, supportive. But Chris had dreams. He wanted to move to another city for a career opportunity. A promotion he'd been working toward for years. When he told Emma, she cried for 3 hours. She told him how abandoned she felt. How scared she was of being alone. How much she needed him. She brought up every time he'd promised to always be there for her. She made him feel like pursuing his dream meant destroying her life. And Chris, because he loved her, stayed. He turned down the promotion. 2 years later, they broke up anyway. Because Emma had met someone else. Someone who lived in the city Chris had wanted to move to. And when Chris asked her how she could do this after everything, she said it was different now. She was in a different place emotionally. The truth? Emma was never too fragile to handle Chris leaving. She just didn't want to be inconvenienced by it. The tears weren't pain. They were strategy. Here's the psychology behind it. Cancer is a water sign ruled by the moon, which governs emotions and instincts. The moon doesn't just reflect light. It controls tides. It pulls. And Cancer internalized this as their power. They learned early that emotions move people. That vulnerability creates obligation. That tears get results. And because their emotional expression feels so genuine, so raw, most people never question whether it's being used strategically. But intensity doesn't equal authenticity. You can deeply feel something and still weaponize it. And that's exactly what Cancer does. They feel their emotions fully. And they deploy them strategically. The tragedy of Cancer is this. They've confused being felt with being loved. They believe if people aren't constantly attending to their emotional needs, they're not cared for. So they keep the emotional volume turned up. Keep the crises coming. Keep everyone around them in a state of emotional emergency. Because in the chaos they feel important. They feel needed. They feel secure. But what they're actually creating is exhaustion. Everyone around them is emotionally drained. Walking on eggshells. Afraid to have their own needs because the Cancer's needs are always more urgent, always more intense, always more valid. And eventually people leave. Not because they don't care, but because they can't breathe. And here's the cruelest part. When people do leave, the Cancer doesn't see their own pattern. They see abandonment. They see proof that people can't be trusted. They see confirmation of their victim narrative. And the cycle repeats with the next person. The tears get them in the door. The emotional intensity creates connection. And the manipulation keeps people trapped until they can't take it anymore. The Cancer never has to change. Because every relationship ends the same way. With them as the victim and the other person as the villain who couldn't handle their depth. So what can a Cancer do? First, admit the truth. You don't just feel emotions. You use them. Every tear has a goal. Every breakdown has an outcome you're hoping for. Name it. Second, practice emotional self-soothing. When you're upset, sit with it before you share it. Ask yourself, am I expressing this to process or am I expressing this to control? Learn the difference. Third, take responsibility for your patterns. Stop framing every story as something that happened to you. Start asking what role you played. Fourth, therapy focused on emotional regulation and boundaries. Because Cancer's pattern comes from early experiences where emotions were the only way to get needs met. And if you love a Cancer, here's what you need to know. Their tears aren't always manipulation. Sometimes they're genuine. But you need to watch the pattern. Do their emotions always result in you sacrificing your needs? Do their breakdowns always happen right when you're about to do something for yourself? Do you feel guilty for having boundaries? If yes, you're not in a relationship. You're in an emotional hostage situation. You can lovingly say, I see you're hurting and I care. But I can't drop everything every time you're upset. Your feelings are valid and so are my boundaries. The Cancer who truly loves you will be uncomfortable. But they'll respect it. Because real love doesn't require emotional tyranny. Cancer isn't emotional. Cancer weaponizes emotions. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Are you a Cancer? When did you first learn that tears got you what words couldn't? Or do you love a Cancer and finally understand why you always feel guilty? Comment below. Next video we're talking about Pisces. And the title is, Pisces doesn't escape reality, they manipulate it. You won't want to miss it. Click right there.